final tune-up before the conference opener next Wednesday, January 1st in Fort Collins, Colorado. We're joined by Coach Steve Fisher here on the Mighty 1090. And Coach Fisher, welcome. How are you? Happy holidays.
And same to you, John, and your family. Happy holidays to you guys. You're working too hard.
Well, I'm working a lot this week. There's no doubt about that. I would imagine you guys, I know, got back to work today, but I'm imagining you're going to be taking in a lot of high school basketball this week.
We will, in and around our own game tomorrow. They started today. We were not allowed. No college coaches could be out from, I think, Monday the 23rd through the 26th. They say that's a dead period. They want coaches to be family people on occasion. So we'll be out in full force tomorrow morning and afternoon, and then we'll have our game tomorrow night.
Well, let's take a look back to last Saturday night. McNeese State, you guys come out, put up a whopping 21 points in the first half, but, hey, your D limited them to 18 points, then came out in the second half and just went to work on them. And like you mentioned last week, they had a nice group of athletes, guys that played hard. You guys didn't shoot the ball particularly well in the first half, but, boy, the second half was a different story.
I thought, Coach, we were a bit anxious to start the game, and I've never been one to have somebody look over their shoulder when they take and miss a shot. But I thought we shot it too quickly, and for sure, as the game went on in the first half, we shot it too quickly. Rather than making two extra passes to go from an okay shot to a great shot, we shot the first okay shot. And when you're making them, then you can ride with it. But we were 0 for 10 from three-point range the first half and 0 for our first 13 from the three-point range. And I think sometimes you have to recognize that as a player and say, I got to find a way to get to the rim, to get to the free throw line. And as the game wore on in the second half, we were much better. We were 15 for 30 from the field in the second half, 7 for 17 from three-point range.
We're visiting with Coach Steve Fisher joining us on the Mighty 1090. You and I talked about Winston Shepard. He had missed the prior game. You sat him down. He came back and, by stat-wise, Coach, played pretty doggone well in that game the other night.
He did, Coach. He came off the bench and I think gave us a little bit of stability, really. He was 4 for 5 from the field, 6 for 8 from the free throw line, and had 2 assists, but he could have had 7 or 8 assists. We missed some easy ones when he made some plays. So I was happy for Winston. When he plays well, we're a really, really good basketball team. And I thought he played smart, hard team basketball against McNeese State.
Hey, Coach, and I know over the years you and I have talked, and, when I used to do your games, we'd visit about, how comfortable you are about how deep you want to go on the bench. And, they're never easy decisions because everybody wants to get playing time and they want to get a lot of playing time. But it comes a point in time where you do have to narrow things down because the guys that are the starters and the guys that are key contributors coming off the bench, they have to have enough of time to get their game. They can't do it in 2 or 3 minutes. They got to get into a nice rhythm. But you got a lot of talent on this team. How comfortable you feel with one game to go before you go into the conference opener? How deep you can go on that bench right now?
I think, Coach, this is a dilemma that everybody would like to have. We got good players. We've got 11 scholarship players, and they're all good. In our last game against McNeese, we really only had 8 able bodies. We had Darrell Williams out with a bad back. We had Dwayne Polee, who didn't play after having undergone some physical medical tests. And J.J. O'Brien banged his hand, and I didn't want to have to play him. Then 3 minutes into the stint, James Johnson turned his ankle. So we went from 11 deep to 7 healthy bodies. So I think sometimes you just have to say, okay, we will continue to play 9 or 10 people. that 9-10 guy probably when league play starts won't get as much as they're getting right now. And sometimes that 9th and 10th player will vary. The 7th and 8th guy might go from 7 to 8 to 9 or 10. So that long story, we're still kind of feeling our way around, and I'm not going to be afraid to play any of the 11.
You know, you mentioned J.J. O'Brien, and I know he's been playing a number of games lately, and you sat him out the other night with that hand injury. And, you know, that night I was at the USD game, sitting on the baseline, and, you know, he had a rough night shooting. He was 0 for 10. But the guy does so many things well. And, you know, one thing that I don't think broadcasters and people that really watch basketball, you know, I think obviously coaches appreciate it and people that really understand the game. But, you know, they don't talk about a guy having a great floor game. And I think night in, night out, that guy always has a good floor game. I'm a big fan of his.
You and I both, Coach, and you are 100% right. So often the average person they'll have to look at the scoreboard or look at the stat sheet to in their mind, determine who played well, which can be so misleading. JJ makes everybody on the team better. He's extremely intelligent. He can play literally any spot on the floor. And he's so selfless that he will do anything to help you win. We need him. If we're going to make a run for the conference title, we need J.J. O'Brien healthy and playing really good basketball, which he had been doing until he hurt that hand.
We're visiting with Coach Steve Fisher, and you can hear the Utah State Band there in the background. Coach, you know, we know about your background at Michigan and going to Sacramento for a short period of time and coming down and taking a job that, you know, quite frankly, a lot of coaches that have done what you had done probably wouldn't want to take. But you came in here and you've done an incredible job. But my question to you, what was your background before you took that job at Michigan, and who really played a part in making Steve Fisher the coach that he is today?
Coach, I've said many times, my dad was my first coach. He coached our Catholic grade school team. Then I went over to the junior high, the public school in the 7th grade. And my dad and Mike Sartle, who just recently passed away at 89, were the two that really had the greatest influences on me wanting to be a teacher and a coach. They made you feel good about yourself. They made you know that if you worked hard, if you were smart, you could be successful. You don't have to be 7 feet tall and run a 10 flat 100. So I guess those were the two that influenced me. I had my first job at south suburbs of Chicago, Rich East High School in Park Forest, and the man Les Whitkey, who hired me there, was a high school coach in Bloomington, Illinois, and we got to be friends when I was in college at Illinois State. He got the job and talked me into going with him. Then I went to Western Michigan with Les Whitkey, who had been Lou Henson's assistant at Illinois, and he got the Western Michigan job. So, you know, they say oftentimes you get jobs because of who you know. Well, Les hired me for my first high school job and first college job. And then Bill Frieder, who I'd gotten to know, and our families, his wife and my wife became good friends. And because of the relationship with our families, he hired me after 3 years at Western in Michigan. So I've ran the circle. I was an 11-year high school coach and loved every minute of it, and was a long-time assistant coach before I became a head coach in college.
Hey, after, you know, making that decision to go from high school and jump in the pool of college basketball, I'm sure you sat down with your wife, and I mean, you're teaching, you're probably tenured at that point in time. You got a good gig going. Was there ever any hesitancy about what you were giving up?
Coach, the only reason that I went to Western Michigan was Les Whitkey, because of the relationship that we had. And you are 100% right. Angie and I met teaching high school at Rich East. We had both been there a long time with master's degrees. And when we went to Western, I took a pay cut of about 50% of what I was making, and she didn't have a job. So our income was cut to 25% of what it was when we were at the high school level. And if your own son would try to do that, you'd chain him to the fence post and not let him go. But I just felt, Coach, that I could get a high school job again if something were to happen where that wouldn't work out. But I believed with all my heart that Les Whitkey would be successful at Western Michigan. And we said, let's go. Let's give it a shot.
That's a great story. Coach, I want to get in. I know you got St. Catherine's on Friday night, but in next week maybe we'll get you on the day before when you guys get into Fort Collins. But how about opening up conference play on January 1st, all the day of all the bowl games? It kind of takes away, I think, for the conference to kind of showcase the start of their college basketball season nationally.
Well, we don't make the schedule, as they say. We play it. We play when they tell us to play. I don't like playing on New Year's Day either, Coach. Maybe the one advantage is the students won't be back, and maybe more people will be home watching bowl games and coming into the arena over there, which they have turned into a really good home court place at Colorado State. But I would much prefer to not play on that date. Seems like Colorado State, I remember 3 years ago, we played them on the night that they were playing the national championship for the college football game. And so we've had a little bit of history with them playing them on some weird nights.
Yeah, we're going to have to send a little note up there to to Commissioner Thompson and the Mountain West. They need to take a look at that calendar a little bit better.
I'm with you, but when you play 18 games, I think a lot of schools and a lot of leagues are playing New Year's Eve. I don't know how many are playing New Year's Day, but I'm sure others are also. So you got to make it work. You got to make it work to fit your 18-game conference schedule. They really told us not to schedule any non-conference games after the, I think, 28th or so of December. But we had already contracted the Kansas game, so they were kind enough to work around and give us a bye in that what could have been a second game when we go to play on Sunday, the 5th of January at Lawrence, Kansas.
Well, good luck tomorrow night against St. Catherine. Get out of that game healthy and get ready for that big conference opener on Wednesday at Colorado State. And, Coach, thanks. I hope everything went well yesterday with the grandson and his very, very first Christmas. That had to be a huge day yesterday.
We had a phenomenal day. You're exactly right. First Christmas for Max Steven. He's born on the 14th of December, and we enjoyed every single moment of it.
Well, and I enjoyed my two little granddaughters yesterday. One of them's 5 months old, the other's 5 years old, and we had a great time. And this time of year, nothing better than family. And a man that grew up in the Midwest, you know all about that.
Well, I think I'm a little bit like you that way, Coach. You prioritize family above all else, and so often people sacrifice for careers. I've never done that, and still managed to do things the right way with my career, and I believe you have also. It's important to me, and I think that we've done it in a fashion that fits us.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for the time. As always, tell the family I said hi.
I will, Coach. You too. Look forward to talking to you again soon.